In last 7 days, the managers of 3 of the biggest clubs in Europe are either being sacked or are leaving by the end of the season.
I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
The job of a football manager is no doubt the most demanding job in sport, as the manager is not only responsible for team's performances on the pitch, but also accountable for almost everything that happens behind the scenes, whether it is team selection, scouting of young players, or dealing with some weird questions from media.
Can you give us a sense, an idea of what your transfer strategy will be?
No.
Nowadays, managers are acting less like the coaches but more like the pressure cookers who are working under constant pressure to get some unreal results. This pressure often leads into a burnout situation, which recently happened with Xavi Hernandez and Jurgen Klopp. Klopp has decided to leave Liverpool after 9 years, as according to him he was running out of energy.
Running out of energy?
In the time span of almost 10 years, we can say, Klopp has won 7 major trophies, including their first English League title after 30 years and their first Champions League trophy since 2005. Klopp literally transformed Liverpool and made them the powerhouse of European football. Players like Trent, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Van Dijk are all developed by this man. In short, Klopp is responsible for number 1, the development of young players, number 2, the signing of new players, and number 3, and the most obvious one, he is responsible for teams' performances on the pitch.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Now, before saying goodbye this season, it was reported that Klopp was ready to leave Liverpool last season only due to the workload. However, Liverpool struggled badly in 22-23 and finished 5th in the league. This forced Klopp to extend his contract, as he didn't want to leave Liverpool in that situation, which is really nice of him. But now this season, as Liverpool are in better situation and are fighting for almost every single trophy, Klopp has announced that he will be leaving the club as he is tired and cannot do the job again and again.
I will leave the club at the end of the season.
This is sad in my opinion, as it shows the amount of pressure these guys go through in order to achieve their goals. Another example is Xavi Hernandez. Xavi brought success back to Barcelona last season when he helped the club to win La Liga with the margin of 10 points. Everyone was praising him, obviously, and some were calling him the next Pep Guardiola, as according to them, he was destined to bring glory back to the club. However, this season, he struggled. By the time I'm recording this video, Barcelona are 10 points away from the top spot and players are underperforming in every single game. The same people who were calling him Pep last season were now asking to sack him. Every media outlet was printing against Xavi, and with the passing of every match day, the pressure was increasing on him. As a result, Xavi announced that he will leave the club by the end of the season. Now, I am confused whether he has been sacked or he is actually leaving on his own. You see, when we evaluate the success or a failure of a particular manager, it depends upon the club they are managing. For some clubs, a finish inside top 10 is considered as a success. For example, Brighton, Aston Villa or West Ham. For some, a finish inside top 5 such as Tottenham, Manchester United or Sevilla. But then there are clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona or Bayern Munich where you have to achieve success every single season, as the expectation bar is way higher than you can even imagine.
We are the best.
In 2023, Bayern Munich sacked Julian Nagelsmann in the middle of the season when their board realized that he was not a good fit for team's culture. That doesn't make sense. In his first season at Bayern Munich, Nagelsmann won the Bundesliga with 3 matches to spare. He also won DFL Super Cup and took them into the quarterfinals of the Champions League without even losing a game. However, Bayern got knocked out in the quarterfinals when Unai Emery's Villarreal came out of SidBz. But next season, he again took them to the quarterfinals by beating teams like PSG, Barcelona and Inter Milan. He was again unbeaten in the Champions League that campaign and was just 1 point away from the top spot in the Bundesliga. But then, out of nowhere, Bayern sacked Nagelsmann in the middle of the season and appointed Thomas Tuchel as their new head coach. Under Nagelsmann, the win percentage of Bayern Munich was 71.2, which was more than almost every manager except Pep, Flick and Carlo Ancelotti. Now, it's not only about Nagelsmann, but there are so many coaches who have been sacked for unjustified reasons. For example, Carlo Ancelotti in 2015. Real Madrid appointed Carlo Ancelotti as their new coach in 2013, and in his first season, Ancelotti won the Champions League, Copa del Rey, Club World Cup and UEFA Super Cup. But following next season, Ancelotti was sacked when Real Madrid lost the league by 2 points. Just for context, this was the same season when Messi, Suarez and Neymar were at their peak. Barcelona scored somewhere around 120 goals that season, but still Ancelotti was sacked.
Life is unfair.
Now I understand that Real Madrid and Bayern Munich are so called the elite clubs and they are supposed to win every single season. But what about Leicester City? If you have been watching football for 10 or more than 10 years, then you might know that in 2015, Leicester City won the Premier League.
How did you do that?
Now if you want to know how big this achievement is, then this is the Premier League table, and Leicester usually finish somewhere here in the bottom half. This season they are not even here, they are down there. But in 2015-2016, they made impossible possible and finished here, above Manchester United, Manchester City and Arsenal. It was under coach Claudio Ranieri. However, next season, Ranieri was sacked as Leicester was not winning the league and was just 1 point away from relegation. But the point here is, that's where they usually finish. 2015 was an exception.
Because it's not easy, it's not big team who are used to stay at the top.
Even fans were not happy with this decision.
I think it's a huge disappointment. I think he should have got it at least at the end of the season.
Now talking about fans, it is the responsibility of every football fan to stand by his manager. As I mentioned that football managers are already working under so much pressure that they cannot handle more pressure from fans or the media.
Pochettino, get out! Get out, Pochettino!
You see, fans are expecting so much from certain managers, for example Erik ten Hag from Manchester United or Pochettino from Chelsea. Manchester United fans want Erik ten Hag to become the next Sir Alex Ferguson, which is just not possible considering the players we have.
That's impossible.
Now don't get me wrong here, as I am not defending the manager. All I am saying is stop asking for unrealistic results, because your shouts of sacking and your criticism puts more pressure on the manager. Now talking about the last and the biggest reason why football is becoming unfair to managers is media.
Shall we change the laws for Erik ten Hag and Man United?
There are so many cases of media and managers not getting along nicely. Not at all.
Look, stop that story or we stop the press conference.
Biggest example is Jose Mourinho,
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I will be in trouble.
who literally gets media treatment almost every single time.
Did you watch the game?
Yes, of course, but I want it from you. You see it from your point of view.
You tell.
Jose Mourinho is always there to have one-on-one with the media.
Respect, man. Respect.
You see, football media is same as the other media. Either they look for controversies or they create controversies. At certain clubs, they find negative information about the managers, all thanks to some loyal players. Or sometimes they create news by questioning the abilities of the manager. Managers keep on becoming the scapegoats and keep working under pressure. It happened with Xavi, it happened with Mourinho, and it is happening with Erik ten Hag. For clicks, media outlets keeps writing irrelevant stuff and keeps pushing the limits of the manager. So these were the points why I think football is becoming unfair to managers. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments and I will see you in the next one.